Kathyskutekreations. Now on to week 2. Is everybody done with week 1? Those 2 blocks were adorable, weren't they? And I think that week 2 is going to be just as pretty. This is your handout. You want to download it. And it is the large half square triangle blocks, excuse me. Let's see. Last week was probably a lot for most people, but like I said, it took me 3 days, so you don't have to do it all in a day. And you can do your cutting week by week because they've got it listed on the pattern if you just want to do cut out for week 1, cut out for week 2. But I kind of like all my stuff cut out. Then each time I get ready to do a new block, when I come back to it, it's all cut out and it's ready to go. I just love that because I like doing all the sewing part of it and not too much about the cutting part. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you the fabrics for this week. Alrighty, there's all my fabric laid out and marked up. So the very first thing that it says that it wants us to do is we're going to take our 2 of our A's and 2 of our C's, which are the 9 by 9 blocks, and we're going to create half square triangles. So each set of the squares are going to make 4 blocks. So we're going to put A and C together. We're going to stitch a 1/4 inch all the way around it, like we're boxing it in. This is what I do. I just pin one side just to get started, and we're going to sew it all the way around 1/4 inch, the whole entire thing. Then when we're done, we're going to lay it out on our table, and we're going to cut it from this end diagonally to that end. Whoops. And from that end all the way down to this end. All right, let's get started. The only thing I did was I went ahead and I switched out my thread to blue. It's still 2.5 and everything, just like before. 12-inch needle. Alrighty, so let's get our 1/4 inch line going here. Instead of going down here to the end that I tore out, I'm going to go up here to the other end that's not done. And I'm going to start on it. Let's go ahead and let's cut this. Now do make sure that you have your right sides together. Oh, and before we cut it, I forgot I have another one because we actually have 2 of them. So let's go ahead and do this one also. Remember our golden rule, your ruler needs to be off of each end of your fabric before you do any cutting. And we're cutting diagonal. Forgot whether I turned my camera on or not. It's like, ugh. All right, now we have 4 here. And then we'll have 4 more, which will give us our 8. I think this is going to be a big block. I don't know. I didn't look to see what size it was going to be. All right, now we're going to iron these open because we're going to need to square them up. And let's see, what does it say here? It says they are going to be trimmed to 5.5 by 5.5. Okay, so did you go ahead and follow along and catch the last video of where we did week 1? If you didn't and you're just now joining, let me show you how to use this block. Now my block is 6.5 inches and we want 5.5. So this will fit because it is bigger than the block. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my colored fabric at the bottom. I call the white one a neutral. I take my block, which I want to rename to a lock block, a block lock, and I take off the minimum. So I'm going to go down. It's locked in. You can tell because the ruler doesn't want to get off of that, and it slides like that. So it's locked into place. And I take the minimum amount of fabric off first. I like this rotating mat because it's a lot easier and I don't have to pick up any of my fabric, which when you have to pick up your fabric, sometimes that's where you get messed up. So now I'm going to roll it the other way, the other direction. My little tail is up here at the top. I'm going to pull my ruler down because, like I said, it's locked into place. It's not going anywhere. And I'm going to put it down to 5.5. And then I'm going to cut it off. The right and the top. Okay? Would you like to see that again? There's my 5.5-inch square. Let's set that aside. Get another one over here. So I put this, starting with my one up at the top corner. I lock it in. Oh, wait a minute. I like to always put my white. I'm a creature of habit. I like to put the white ones up here on the left. I don't know why, but I don't know. Something about me. Okay, then I'm going to take the minimum off. Excuse me. And then turn it all the way around so the dog ear's up at the top. Pull this down to the 5.5 mark, which is right there. And there we go. Let me go ahead and show you on the other one how to do this. And this is my 6.5 ruler, just a regular ruler. And what I do here is I take my diagonal, I guess I could say my 45-degree line, and I'm putting it on the mark, the halfway mark here, doing the same thing. I'm taking off the least amount, so I go all the way up here to the tip top, and I'm straightening out this side. Then I go ahead and I rotate it just like before. I pick up my ruler, put it down here. Now I'm looking on the left-hand side for 5.5. And here is 5.5 right there. I got my line going across there. Put pressure on the ruler, and I try to keep my hand on the ruler as well as on the mat so that it doesn't shift on me and move, although there are little pads up underneath here. And there you go. So you can do it any way you want. I'll do it one more time like that, and then I'll show you on a regular straight ruler in case you don't have a square ruler. Because sometimes people don't have square rulers. Not if you haven't built up a stash. I've tried to build up based on what I needed to use it for the most. So every ruler I've gotten so far, I have used a lot. I don't think I have a ruler that I haven't used. And I've still got a ruler that I'm going to show you how to use. I just haven't had time for a video. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. I got it on my 5.5, top and bottom. And there we go. And that's that. Now, let's do it with a straight ruler, just in case you don't have a square ruler. And we've covered all our bases. This will do because this is longer, and it's a square, it's a rectangle. So first I want to have my number 1 at the top so I can be paying attention to where I'm going. And actually I want to do it this way. And there's my diagonal line. I said 5.5, didn't I? All right, let's see here. Let's first take off the edges here. Okay, let's line it up first. This way. And am I going to hit that? There we go. Still in the camera. All right, there we go. I'm going to turn it like this. And then I'm looking to see where my 5.5 is. There it is right there. Here's my 5.5 right there. And I have a 5.5 here and a 5.5 here. Let me make sure y'all can see it. You probably can't, but here. So my 5.5 is down here that I'm looking at for the bottom, and then here is for the other side. This is what I'm looking at right here. Okay, this is what we're looking at. These black, this black, and this black. So if I go down here and I put it on the diagonal, my 45 degree, and I'm going down to my 5.5. This is going to need a little bit additional trimming. Let's see. Because my main thing is, there we go. Because if I keep my line right here on my fabric, which you know, that's what I like to do. It'll be a little bit here, but we can trim that off. Okay. It just takes more with a rectangle than it does with a square. And I'll show you here. I don't know if you can see it if I get you close enough, but it's just such a small amount. But let me see here. See how it's just got a little bit more on that side for the 5.5 compared to on this side here and the top. Okay, so we just trim that, that's all. So I'll pick it up. Go this way with it. Put it right on the line. Just like that. And it is such, actually it's not even that much. I'm not even going to trim it. So there you go. And all we got is one left. Oh, actually we got 3 left. So go ahead, do them however you want to do them. And then we'll go with the next step. So I'm back because I just now remembered something that I wanted to show you using the block lock tool. Now, I don't know if some of you even paid attention and noticed this. So when I used this, and I'm looking for the 1 up there, keep in mind, the 1 is also right here. 1 to 5, 1 to 5. Okay. If I put it on this way, normally I put it on this way. And it could have to do, which I haven't even looked at, but it may be due to the way I set my color up all the time. But let's try it here. So I trim off both sides, I move it down here to the 5.5, and then I trim off, and that's it, after I've rotated it. Let's say I don't use it where I can read this on my left-hand side. I turn it, okay? Well, that's actually turned this right here that you lay, this strip here that you lay on your block. So I've turned it the other direction, and I want you to look at something. And I think I did this in a video. Then I had to stop and trim my block different. All right, so I went ahead and I blocked it in, okay? I'm going to come down because, you know, I'm going to get the minimum. I'm pretty sure I did this in a video. All right, so if you come down, notice how much is up here versus how much is here. Okay? And I'm already at the 5.5 mark right here. I have no wiggle room if I cut this off and this off. I'm done. That's got to stay like it is. All you can do is trim this. It can be done, but if you accidentally come down too far, looking at the 5.5 like this, this block is now not 5.5 by 5.5. So if you're new to this tool or even sewing, you don't want to do it this way because you're going to waste your blocks because they're going to be the wrong size. They're going to be too small. So start out this way so that when you put it down and you lock it into place, you have a little bit to trim off, which means you have the capability to be trimming on the other side as well. I just wanted to come back and tell you that real quick because I don't know if you noticed it. I did it before in another block, and I'm trying to think if the only way I can think that I fixed it was when I trimmed it off and I came back, I had to just trim the tip off here. I went ahead and I trimmed this, and then I trimmed the tip. But I know that's too confusing for those that are new. I mean, it can be done, but you've got to be really, really careful because if your block isn't big enough in order to trim it down, then you won't be able to do it that way. So go ahead and finish yours up. I got 2 more blocks to finish. Take your F and your G, which are 12.5-inch blocks. You're going to put the right sides together, and we're going to be creating half square triangles again. But this time, what we're doing is we're doing it the same way we did last week when we marked our fabric. Remember, we put our line straight down the middle, and then we drew a line on the side. So what I'm going to do, give that a minute, and I'm going to get my ruler. Remember, you want your ruler to be extending both ends here. And I'm going to use a purple and a black. And I'm going to draw my cutting line with the purple. So it's going to have lots of lines on it. And I'm coming on the lighter color. Okay, so this is my dash line because this is my cutting line. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and turn my mat and mark my others side here. Go like this. You can see it when it comes down to the bottom. And what I do is I make sure I put my pin down first before I put my ruler. Now keep in mind that your pen that you're using, whether it's a pencil, marker, whatever, that this thing is taking up space. So if you put your ruler down right on the diagonal and you're not paying attention down here, if you're not paying attention, this line will actually be to the right of your corner, which means your block will be off. And now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make sure that I can actually see right here my mark that I made, so that I'm a 1/4 inch, and I've allowed for that fat mark, and that is a fat mark, because that's a little bit different kind of marker than this one right here. And this is going to be my sewing line. I'm just going to go around my board here. Hopefully y'all can see it. And if you have a 1/4 foot, you don't need to worry about it. This is for all those that need to mark it. And one more to be marked. The less you have to pick up your fabric, the better you are. Because every time you've got to pick that up, you have a tendency to move it, which is not a good thing. And I hope my arm is not in the way for you to see this. I hope you can see it. Oh gosh, I hope I'm not running out of black. I didn't realize I was using these things so much. Now I know a lot of people won't use these because they say that they don't go away with the iron. But if you are sewing right on it, you're not even going to see that through your fabric, to be truthful with you. So what we're going to end up doing is after, so look at your picture here. Let me get a, so it says here, this is what we laid it out. I drew the first, just like that. Now I drew these. And that was drawing the lines corner to corner, stitching. Now we're going to stitch our 1/4 inch. Then we're going to cut the squares as they're shown. And then we're going to cut the squares diagonal. So once we get they want us to cut it like this. And then from there, which is right here, they've gone down like that. So you're going to end up with 8 of them right here. Okay, and then we're going to trim these down to 5.5 by 5.5. Okay, I went ahead and I put pins down this side and that side. So let's sew the whole thing before we cut anything. Alrighty? And you shouldn't need to worry about a leader ender unless you specifically want one, because we are not starting at the corner. We're on the side. Remember, the corner, the middle is our cutting line. Now, if you guys have ever done paper piecing with the half square triangles, this might look familiar to you. The white lines, which are the cutting lines, we're going to cut those first. Now, if you don't trust yourself and you need to mark it, that's fine. Keep in mind, this is what you're looking at right here. Okay, that is, I'm going to show you here. that is what's making you go straight across here. So what you would do is you'd put your ruler down, put your pin on it, which is going to make this, because that's going to be the cutting line right there. I got to go over a little bit like that. This is the white line. They want us to cut this first. And then cut it this way. This says it's an erasable. I hope it is. I just marked on my board. Lordy, lordy. And I'm going to tell you, the entire time, I'm going up with this so it stretches the fabric. That way it doesn't pull it towards me. Just doing it gently. So while I was sewing, I just watched a video before I sat down here to do this quilt. And it was a tribute, but a corny type of song this gentleman made up just to kind of to laugh. He's had quite a bit of hardship in his family. But anyway, so the whole entire time that I am sewing this square, just to share it with you, I'm sitting here saying to myself, I like big squares. And you know where that song is from? That is from Yvette's video where she sings that song. The board is not squares. Now, we're going to go from corner to corner, and we're going, or not corner to corner, but straight up here. We're going to cut this first. I'm going to turn the board. Before we do any kind of diagonal cutting, we're cutting like this. And just like this. Okay, now we'll do the diagonal cutting. Keep your squares together. And we're going to go from corner to corner. There's one. Here comes two. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, it's the best I can do. It's off my table here. I might have to push it up a little bit. Make sure it cut. Did it cut? That just my corner didn't cut. There we go. Now, you should have all of these right there done. Alrighty? 2, 4, 6, 8. And now we're going to iron them open. Now don't forget to relax your seams when you're over there before you iron them open. So do you think you've practiced enough? No, you silly gooses. This isn't enough practice. Let's do some more. So now we're going to take our blocks, H and I, and we're going to make another half square triangle. I read that and it's like, are you kidding me? So I just had to say that when I came back on. No offense. I like geese. I've never owned any, but I like them. Okay, I need to iron this because that seems to be sticking up and has an issue. We're going to mark this one just like we did before. And if you all got your thinking hats on, are you kind of wondering why we're doing so many half square triangles? I've never seen so many half square triangles. They must be telling us something. They really want us to learn how to do this. All right, let's see here. We are going to do it like we did before. So we're going to go catty corner to catty corner. And I'm doing the dashed line. Okay, that's the cutting line. I'm doing it on the light fabric, whatever you've chosen. And then I'm going to take my blue, and that's going to be the sewing lines. Make sure I can see them. Here we go. There we go. Let's leave that a minute. Alrighty. And before I pick it up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin it. I almost can't see this blue line right here. I mean, I can see it, but I'm going to guess y'all can't see it. Now, we're only doing this one time down the catty corner here, because this is probably going to be, if I'm going to guess, yeah, this is going to be a 5.5, just like the other sets. Okay, and this one's got a pinch in it too. I don't know. Bring it back over here. Don't forget, right sides together. Okay. Black line is our cutting line. So it's the dash line. Okay. The blue line is the marking line. Okay. You know, if you don't have one of these rotating mats and you had something like a Lazy Susan, you know that would work too. I just thought about that. There's lots of different kind of Lazy Susans out there. All right, let's chain stitch this. Now again, we do not need a leader ender because we're starting on the side. We're not starting straight down the middle or it would get hung up. But if you have a finicky picky machine, then you might want to start one and use one. Okay, we're going to cut this. And that darn Yvette, this isn't even that big of a block. But it's in my head. I like big blocks and I cannot lie. Ugh, my goodness gracious, I can't get rid of that song. Thank you, Yvette. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and cut these apart, and then we're going to iron them. There's one. Number two. And let's get it ironed and open them up and let's get them cut down. So I went ahead and I have ironed them to the dark side. So this is the side that's got the fold. So this is the way the block is going. Let's lock it in. There we go. Just like that. And, boy, these are big old blocks. Let's see. And they need to be 5.5 by 5.5. My goodness, look at that. That block is 6 right there. Goodness gracious. Okay. I'll show you this one, and then you guys can do the other one. 5.5, 5.5. There we go. Okay. Finish them up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these together. This is, in mine, on the kit, it's B for the floral red. Okay, it's called twined floral red. This, which is K, is called the quilt blocks red. We only have one of these and one of these. Well, at the moment we have one of each, but there's only going to be one of this total. I've got 4 of these for this week. So, let's get started. Alrighty, so you know how to sew these. So just go ahead and sew them. I'm not going to show because you can watch my last video and see you're just sewing a straight seam here. When you're done, you're going to attach this white to this one here. Same thing. Then I'll lay them out here because I want to go ahead and create the squares. The layout of our first block. Goes to this, and then back to this. After one, 2 is done. Then the same thing here. The white to this. Then the hash square triangle to the white. There's nothing to be watching, so we don't have to do it on a certain side. Well, you have heard me say it before, that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. And it did. And you're wondering, what happened to her? Well, I put my first 2 of these little pieces here together so that I can go ahead and sew them. And I'll be darned if my block, this block right here, was too small. I mean, oh my gosh. And you know, there's just not enough fabric to make another whole piece. So I'm sitting here, all things come to mind. Like, how do I take this lemon and make lemonade? What am I going to do? It's going to be noticeable. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm just sitting here thinking about it. Well, already, I hadn't mentioned it, but because this is a picnic quilt, I was going to put ants on my quilt. But you know, I was undecided. Well, now I'm not undecided because that's what I'm going to do to cover the boo-boo. I'm going to show it to you here in a second. Actually, I will show it to you after I get these done so that you can see it when the blocks are put together. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew the white to the other side. Let's get that done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to iron these 2 rows open and lay them out before we go ahead and put them all together and pin them. And now we're going to pin it together because it needs to be marked. Remember now, we have to take it and we have to mark so that we don't accidentally take the tips off. So normally I would take it and do this because this is the shorter piece of the fabric, but we don't want to do that. So first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to nestle these, and then we're going to mark them. Here we go with our marking. First we're going to mark our seam. Here's our X. And that's where we're going to put the line so we don't go below this when we sew. Let's mark this right here. So my intersection's up here. Okay. Now we need to nestle these also. So it's 2 in 1 here. So let's back up a little bit. Alrighty. So first we're going to take it and nestle it like that so that these meet each other right here. Alright. Then we're going to take our pin and we're going to go straight down right there. And when we sew, we're going to go sew right across that line. Go down to this end, put a pin on it. This is not the strip that's got the boo-boo in it, in case you're wondering. I'll show you here at the end. Then I'm going to put one about right here. Normally I would put 2, but I'm going to pay attention a little bit here. So now we're going to go back to the nestling. And mark it right there. These 2 are nestling right here, just like that. And then we're going to put our pin in it, because there's our spot right there. Go back to the other end. And we're going to do the same thing on the other one. I'm not going to show it to you because you should have seen a lot of the explanation in the last one. We're going to do the same thing. Let me go ahead and let's sew this first, then we'll come back. And actually we can mark this. So I'm going to finger press that. Let's see, here's my line right here. And right there, so the dot is right there. So I gotta draw my line here. Same thing here. My goodness, I hardly have any. There we go, right there. I don't know how the heck that got so short on me, but I'll go back over it and we'll make sure. Okay, in the meantime, let's put a pin and hold this down. If I can get a pin in it, that is. There we go. Now I'm not pinning where the spot is. The spot's up here. I just need to stay on the line. That's the main thing, is stay on that line. Alright, so let's go ahead and sew this other one. Continue and attach this to the other piece, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at it first. Okay, there's what that looks like, and I'm happy with it. So let me go ahead and iron it, and then I'll pin it to the other one. Now you should have yours pinned. Well, you know, now my finger is hurting from that cut. Oh, well. I just used up the tail end of that little moisturizer thing that I got. But that's okay. There we go. I think it's because I have to, because automatically I grab my pins with my middle finger, and that's the one that got cut. And I always grab right there, and of course it's going to get it. But I think I'll live. See if we can get over that line. There we go. Let's take a look at it. There's the mistake right here, and right here. You can't see it on that, but you can on that. So let me show you what I'm going to do. There's what I'm going to do. And I may put a couple of his friends with him. So that's how I'm making up for the boo-boo in the block. An ant. Of course, he'll have some legs and everything. So just want to let you know, but there's that first block. Let's start working on the next blocks. So the next block is going to look like this. But before we do that block, go ahead and take the rest of these, there's 3 of them, and attach them to that to make a strip like that. Well, for everybody that was following along and was screaming at me because I put that one little square in the other block, I apologize. Oh my gosh. When I got done and I was looking at it, and I thought, oh, we should have went ahead and done all of those other little pieces. Here, I did them up here. So all these pieces right here, we should have done them. So then I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, wait a minute. It said we needed 4 blocks with these little squares in them. And I'm thinking, wait, that was the first set of blocks. And then I looked at the picture and I was like, oh no, that's a wrong letter. So anyway, I fixed it. I'll show it here on the design wall. But I wanted to show you that it goes with this block, which we're only making 1 of this. We're making 4 of the other ones. So let me show you the wall real quick. There you go. That's the one that's supposed to be in there. So it goes in there. And then it'll go on the other 3 that are going to look like that, except I don't think I'm going to put an ant on every one of them because this, unless I find another mistake, I don't know. Let's go over here to this other block. Alrighty, go ahead and pin these, make them, and then finish up all the blocks, and then I'll meet you back here when I got them all finished. Alrighty, that's the way the second one looks. The stripes have to meet in the middle. There's the first one. So now, for this one, minus the ant, y'all, we're going to make 3 more of those because we have to have 5 of those. I mean, 4 of those. 5 total, but 4 of those. Alrighty, so there is the 2 on the wall. And then, hopefully not making you too dizzy there, these are my other 3 here on the ironing board. They turned out really nice too. And I didn't make a mistake. I was so scared. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you next Monday for week 3 and 4. And I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to do it, but between now and Monday, I'll figure it out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.